Good morning. Hello. I have just got off a call that was a part of one of my goals that I wrote sometime last year. Anyway, it came true this morning, which was so good because I love helping people with their mindset and being able to smash their goals. And of course, you got to have big goals yourself if you want to do that for other people. So this was a big one. And one thing I really want to get clear with you all is that hashtag, fuck the how. The how is not even something you would think about when you're already there. Really get into that. So when I was younger, I wanted to be a chef, and I still live in Katherine, but I wanted to be a chef at Kirby's restaurant. Back in the day, Kirby's was a silver service fine dining experience. So we used to make our own bread there. Anyway, wasn't working there, but I wanted to work there. It had a reputation. I used to go there for my birthdays, and they would make a cake, and it would all be special, and it was such a special experience that my dad would take me there for my birthday because my parents were divorced. And so I wanted to be a chef there and do my apprenticeship there. And so when I was 16, I was in grade 11. In grade 10, you get to do work experience. So I did work experience then at, back then it was called the Frontier Resort, with some friends that owned that restaurant. But they were leaving, so I'd chosen that I wanted to do my apprenticeship at Kirby's. By March in that year, what was it, 1992, showing my age, March 1992 in grade 11, I had failed school. I had failed my year because I hadn't passed an assignment in that I think it was worth 50% of the grade or something like that for the year. And so they said, look, there's no point, you keep coming. My parents didn't agree with that. My mum and my stepdad did not think that that was a good idea, and they tried to keep forcing me to go to school. So, of course, I didn't want to go. I just wanted to go cooking. That's what my goal was. I wanted to be a chef. So I went and applied for this apprenticeship. Back then, you had to have year 10 school, or you had to have, and if you wanted to leave school, you had to have an apprenticeship, right? So I didn't get one, but I'd already failed school. So, and I was quite intelligent. I was always A's and B's, C's in the classes that I didn't like, sort of thing. But I was a pretty good student. So to fail already showed that I just was not interested. And so I started working at Big Rooster back in those days. It wasn't Red Rooster, it was Big Rooster. So I started working there. Now, it didn't really sit well with my family, me, because I was so good at school, me being a big rooster chick, I was told. So my parents sent me over to Rockhampton, to do this pre-voc cooking course. But my goal was to work at Kirby's and do my apprenticeship. That was my goal. So anything else in between was like, I actually look at it as a gift that my parents sent me over there to do this cooking course, so that then I could be doing what I loved and I wasn't just working at a fast food joint. And because I think they were sort of seeing the rest of my life. I had ideas what the rest of my life was going to be. I was going to be an executive chef one day, and I was going to run a restaurant, and I was going to do all sorts of things. And but they thought maybe I was settling, and that's where I was going to be for the rest of my life. But anyway, while I was over there, the apprenticeship came up, and I was in Rockhampton, and so I couldn't get there to do the interview. So, this is what I want you to take this story as fuck the how. Like, do not worry about the how. All I kept seeing myself was I had an apprenticeship there. I was finishing this course, and I was going back to Katherine, and then they would have had a year to be ready to put on another apprentice. That was my thinking. That was all I worried about, was like, get this done and then go back to Katherine and do this course. I wasn't thinking about doing it anywhere else but there. And so halfway through, it was in October, that they were ready for another apprentice. And I couldn't get there to do the interview, so I sent my dad. I said, Dad, can you please go and talk to Brian and Christine and please do my, like, just, he said, what am I going to say? I said, I don't know what you're going to say, but just tell them the truth. Just tell them that I love to cook and all the things and da-da-da-da. So he went and did my interview and I got the job. And then I spoke to Christine and she said, okay, when can you start? And I said, well, I would really like to finish this course. It finishes on the 4th of December. Can I please start? I'll be there back. I'll catch the bus back and I'll start on the 7th. She said, okay. I got back into Katherine, I think, at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I started work that day at 2 o'clock. But what I want you to understand is that I did not have a plan. I never really do have a plan set out on this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. I just get to the end result. What do I want? And I stay focused there. And then what I do is any idea that comes to my head is you should call this person, or you should put this post up, or you should run this course, or you should do this, or da-da-da. I do it. So, you know, back in those days, there was no mobile phones. So I had to go to a pay phone across the road from where I lived, because I lived in a girls' hostel. I had to go a pay phone across the road to ring the hotel to have the chats with people to work things out. There was no phone in the girls' hostel, and so I had to go across there. I think one of the ladies, like there was one there, but like you couldn't ring out on it. You could only receive calls. So I had to go over there. So, but if I had to figure out the how, there is no way in hell that I would have been able to get it right and know what the how was going to be. No way. There's no way at all. And what I've learned since then is that as soon as you are trying to work out the how that it's going to work, you're not focused on your goal. You're focused on where you are. So when you hear me say, fuck the how, I'm telling you to get back on the level of your goal, because you've picked a goal and it's here. And where you are is somewhere on the scale here. So your goal is here and you're somewhere here. When I say forget the how, fuck the how, just get there. Just get to the place that it's already happened. Live there. Spend time there. And then take action from there. So as soon as you get a hit of call this person or do this or blah, 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 whatever it could be, you take action. And that's going to keep you up there. As soon as you start to think how, you're actually down here and you're trying to work out how to get there. You've got to get there first. And how do you do that? Well, you spend time with it. You see yourself. I just saw myself in my chef's uniform with those, those dicky hats we had to wear back then, being an apprentice, doing those things. I saw myself. I didn't even know what was on the menu. I knew they had Kilpatrick oysters because we'd go there and eat them. But I would just see myself in that kitchen. I didn't even know what the kitchen looked like, but I would just see myself working there and be living and working and being like the executive chef of something someday. I even had images of me wanting to work on a cruise boat, which I did as well. And I just want you to know that anything you want is possible and it can happen. But it can only happen when you keep that picture in sight and don't pay that much attention to what is going on down here right now. Because this down here is maybe your past worries, your past thoughts, the past things that you've been involved in, the negative stories that you've heard and sort of got invested in as well. That is what is creating what is going on right now. If you don't want that, it's, you pay attention to it, but you do whatever you can to stay up there on this level of vibration. So then you got to think about, okay, so how do I do that? So if it's a home, start exploring homes, start spending time in, like, invest your time in different things. So like there's a home that I want to build, so I'm just investing my time at the moment in looking at different things of what I want to incorporate in it, how this room wants to look, how do I want this room to be, da-da-da-da. If it's a car that you want, go and sit in it. Go for a drive in it. Start it up. Play. Be playful. I know that there's a few coaches in this group. If it's groups that you want to fill or ideas that you want, start spending some time seeing yourself do that. If you're in a Zoom coaching call and there's 20 people in there or something and you want to have a class that big, take pictures of it. Like, take a selfie of yourself in that and just say, like, here I am coaching this, or this is like, and start to really flood your subconscious mind with the images of what you want. And then up your personal standards. Decide that you do, like, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And this is a 95% negative world. If you do not have standards for you to live by, you will fall for anybody else's. And you think about it, 95% of the world is stuck. They're in jobs that they don't love. They're working in places that are not fulfilling. They're not getting the income that they want. They're not living the life that they truly want. So if you tune into them, you're going to get what they get. So be very careful about the people that you spend time with. And up your personal standards. What are your standards for living? And make that a regular thing. Really up your standards as you go through life, because the standards I set for myself last year are not the same standards I have this year. Things are changing, things are moving, I'm changing. So it's growing and growing and growing. And if you're not going up the scales of vibration, you'll be going down, because you can't just stay on one. And some people are on a roller coaster ride. Some days they're up, some days they're down. Some hours they're up, some hours they're down. Why? Because they're hooked into circumstances. Now, I'm not here to say that I've got this perfectly done. I don't. I'm still working on mine, because where I want is here, and I'm still sometimes just fluctuating around here. So it tells me that I've got to double down on a few things. And if I have to, I'm sure you do too. So ask yourself, what can I do a little bit differently? Do I know what I want? Have I spent time with it? And if I was already there, what would I not worry about now? So if I already had the job that I wanted, would I be talking about the negative stuff that I'm talking about? If I already had the car that I wanted, would I be worried about the whatever is going on with the car that you've got? If you're in the relationship that you truly wanted, would you be putting up with some of the things that maybe you're putting up with now? They're all questions for you, and only you have the answers for your life, just like I'm the only one with the answers to my life. So play around with that. Today is Gratitude Day. What are you grateful for? You have to be grateful where you are, because what you want will start from where you are. No matter what day it is, where you are and what you're doing, it is going to start from here. If you can't have gratitude for where you are right now and the things that you've put in place already and the changes that you've made and the mistakes that you've made and whatever, then how can you have gratitude when you're there? If you're going to do it that way, then you're telling the universe, I'm not there. So hold it away. Hold it away. So start having gratitude for what you have right now, because there is gold around you and there's gold inside you. Just have to look a little bit deeper and stop just being so worried, like so hooked into the surface stuff. All right. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye. See ya.